Welcome Summoners, I'm Single, but you can call me Nathan Ing, and today we're going to be discussing 6 OP picks for patch 2.1a. With the changes that the patch brought, some underlying picks have become very powerful, so for those looking to climb this patch, make sure you abuse these champions. But before we begin, our question of the day is, what champion do you think will be the best game show host? For me personally, I probably have to save our very own Braum. Yep, we got his little bald head in frame. Thank you so much, and be sure to answer those questions in the comments down below, and let's just hop into the video. The first overpowered pick is Jinx, the loose cannon. She is undeniably one of the strongest ADCs in the game, and she has quite an explosive playstyle. Anyone who has been playing Wild Rift has probably seen Jinx acquire at least a quadra kill by now. She's pretty busted. Her weakest portion is in the early game, but with Misfortune nerfed, there aren't many lane bullies strong enough to deny her from scaling into the later stages of the game. All Jinx has to do is to play even in the laning phase and then take over the game during team fights. Extra range provided from her rockets alongside the area of effect damage allow Jinx to stand from a very safe distance away. With the synergy from Runen's Hurricane, it doesn't matter too much how exactly she targets in a team fight. As long as she keeps auto-attacking, she's gonna decimate everyone. Once Jinx acquires a takedown, her passive, Get Excited, allows her to take over the tides of the entire team fight. What this essentially means is that as long as she participates in the initial pick of a team fight, she has the ability to steamroll the entire enemy team. And I'm sure we all know how important snowballing a team fight is for Wild Rift. Additionally, if Jinx has a Lulu support, she becomes super duper OP. Lulu speeds up Jinx, providing extra peel and damage on her auto attacks, eliminating Jinx's lack of escape options. The synergy from the two played together allows her to become a threat even during the laning phase, with Lulu's early game compensating for Jinx's weak laning. However, they are unbeatable powerhouses in the late game, a strategy abused by high elo players. We actually have a short video on this strategy, so be sure to check that out if you want more details. But before we continue, be sure to join our Wild Rift Discord channel in the description down below for a chance to communicate more directly with our analysts and other players such as yourselves, and as well as me. Next up is Aurelion Soul, the Sparkly Star Dragon. This pick has been underrated for some time now, but he's now officially on our overpowered mid lane picks. This dragon is quite literally out of this world, because he's like a galaxy and stuff. Trying to run away from his bigger-than-life Star Surge is one of the most terrifying and hopeless things a player can experience in Wild Rift. It's even more difficult to run away from than your problems. It's like Indiana Jones and the Boulder, but the Boulder is a cosmic dragon hurling an entire galaxy at you. Aurelion Soul has been experiencing massive success, a priority pick for many competitive Wild Rift teams. His laning stage is a little bit weak, but his strengths lie in his absolutely insane roam potential and teamfighting ability. Comet of Legend, his third ability, allows him to fly across all terrain in a straight line. By using this, he can traverse from the mid lane to Baron lane in a matter of seconds. Thanks to the increasing size of his Star Surge, Aurelion Soul's roam must be respected. Either get out of his way or get hit by extra galaxy of stars. And who says size doesn't matter? This creates an immense amount of pressure on all side lanes, which helps the allied jungler rotate and take priority of the map. And as all of you should know by now, gaining map priority means winning games. In teamfights, Aurelion Soul provides constant damage thanks to his rotating stars. Though these stars may look underwhelming, taking a hit from them actually chunks a lot more than expected. He can expand the radius, increase the speed, and damage of the stars as well, allowing him to stand a safe distance away while dealing massive amounts of damage. This ability decimates the enemy frontliners, and for those who attempt to close the distance on him, his ultimate Voice of Light serves as a knockback, pushing all clumped away units away from him and dealing incredible amounts of damage. All of these aspects make Aurelion Soul an incredible teamfighting machine, with a kit that provides DPS, knockbacks, slows, and even a stun. By the way, these are all area of effect. The best way to beat Aurelion Soul is in a 1v1 scenario. But being near him means standing at the looming threat of being smacked in the face by consecutive shooting stars. So, if you know how to close the distance and kite Aurelion Soul, 1v1 shouldn't scare you too much. And don't forget, he has an ultimate to gain distance and a stun to keep enemies still as well. If you're really looking to scare and surprise your opponents, try Aurelion Soul. I sincerely don't think that there's anything scarier in the Wild Rift than a flying cosmic dragon throwing an entire galaxy that's bigger than the entire lane. Moving on to the next overpowered pick, we have Akali for the Baron lane. The female ninja is quite the menace and really difficult to outplay. Thanks to her invisibility and numerous gap closes, running away from Akali can feel like running away from the police, which I have no experience doing. You really have to really commit to it and be preemptive, or they'll catch you. The greatest asset to Akali is her ability to get into a fight, grab a kill or two, and then get out. Akali's shuriken flip positions her backwards while also giving her the chance to re-engage at the opportune time. Once she does go into a fight, her Shroud of Invisibility can be abused to buy time. The invisibility lasts an uncomfortable amount of time, and with the little the enemy can do against invisibility, Akali can wait out her cooldowns and ult in the enemy backline. This makes her a great asset in teamfights, and she also plays fantastically in the laning phase, both against melee and ranged matchups. Against range, she can simply burst them by utilizing her perfect execution. And for melee matchups, she has escapes and gap closers that can help her poke and kite around the enemy, a unique advantage for a melee champion herself. Akali is a very oppressive assassin, and one of the strongest Baron laners in the game. She can be a little difficult to play, but if you're looking for a champion that has an incredibly amount of skill to reward ratio, try her out. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Next up, we have another Baron laner, Darius. I know I just said that Aurelion Soul was the scariest to run away from, but a fed Darius is a really close second. In this case, it's like running away from a T-Rex from Jurassic Park, but in like the new one where you're just running in high heels. You can run away successfully, but he's one scary monster that you probably shouldn't want to fight head on. With the buffs that he received from patch 2.1a, Darius is standing at a really good spot. His healing and crowd control buffs really pushed him over the edge, as these two proved to be extremely beneficial to his kit. When it comes down to the laning phase, Darius' playstyle relies on kiting the enemy Baron laner with Decimate, waiting for the opportunity to all in. And when it comes to dueling, auto attacks and abilities proc his passive, Hemorrhage, which decreases healing by applying bleed damage. Thanks to his slows and hook, if the Baron laner even gets into the melee range of Darius, they're in for a beating. The best counter to Darius is to kite him, but ranged Baron laners typically don't provide as much as Darius when it comes to a teamfight. Thanks to the Decimate buff this patch, Darius' frontline potential in the teamfight rose substantially. He now has the healing necessary to soak up more damage, and the extra slow on his Apprehend allows for him and his teammates to capitalize more on his crowd control. Difficult to kill Darius means more trouble for the enemy team, for the longer he stays in a fight, the more trouble he becomes. Once enough Hemorrhage is stacked, Noxian Guillotine is the most satisfying execution ability. Resetting on kills, Darius' ultimate is what truly makes him a monster. And in patch 2.1a, it's the most opportune time for Darius players on Wild Rift to dunk on their enemies. Lee Sin is once again in our overpowered picks. Despite having been slightly nerfed in the past, he's in an amazing spot, largely thanks to the Olaf nerfs. With the priority of many junglers being early level skirmishes, Lee Sin truly shines. Lee's early level damage and mobility make him a force to be reckoned with. There aren't many junglers in the game that can duel better than Lee Sin. Olaf used to be one of them. His passive grants him increased auto attack speed after each spell usage, and each of his spells can be used twice. In that time that most junglers can use 3 spells, Lee Sin can use 3 of his spells twice, with super fast auto attacks mixed into his combo. And by the time he loses an early level skirmish, he has 2 dashes in his kit to escape, alongside a super powerful kick to knock the enemy away. These dashes are also used in a gank, giving Lee Sin the ability to close the gap, twice. If Lee Sin misses his Sonic Wave, he can simply safeguard towards the enemy with ease. For many other junglers, if they miss their first gap closer, they don't really have a second one. All of Lee Sin's abilities have great versatility, providing great options for both defensive and offensive plays. Dragon's Rage, his ultimate, can be used to provide crowd control and fantastic damage in a teamfight, but can also be used to disengage. Crippled, the second proc of his third ability, can be used to slow enemies to catch or slow them to run away. Lee Sin's kit is perfectly rounded, having the tools needed to handle any single situation. Of course, he's rather mechanically difficult, so whether or not players manage to use him to his fullest is still very dependent on their own skill. But in patch 2.1a, Lee Sin is, without a doubt, overpowered. Last but definitely not least is Orianna in the mid lane. In the recent hotfix, Orianna's ultimate cooldown was nerfed. Lulu was similarly nerfed in the hotfix, but she faced more game-changing nerfs in patch 2.1a, while Orianna did not. And to be honest, Ori definitely needs more tuning. Riot must have thought that Liandry's nerf would be enough to bump her down a peg or two, but she is still incredibly oppressive to play against. As a caster, her kit relies on standing far back while dealing area effect damage. In the laning phase, she relies on her empowered auto attacks and splash damage to push the wave in. Her wave clear capabilities are quite strong, making her a very safe pick for the early game. But what makes Orianna stand out from the other caster picks is her teamfighting utility. Orianna's strength lies in the versatility of her kit. Similar to Lee Sin, every one of her skills can be adapted on the fly. Orianna's command attack allows her to position the ball practically anywhere around her, with different positional advantages available to her. Command Dissonance can be used to slow enemies and speed up allies, an effect that can hit and buff many targets at once. The amount of utility on the skill is absolutely insane. A properly timed Dissonance can serve both defensive and offensive capabilities. In addition, Command Protect shields a target ally. Not only is a shield massive, scaling incredibly well with AP, but the movement on her ball while traveling to an ally always deals damage. That means that no matter what she does, Orianna has the potential to damage the enemy. Now, Orianna's ultimate Command Shockwave is one of the greatest ultimates in the game. It deals massive damage and can be used to engage, disengage, and even follow up peel for her allies. When paired with champions that can go invisible, Command Shockwave can become an incredibly broken tool, with little to nothing the enemy can do to counter the skill. Exploiting this mechanic can leave the enemy team incredibly frustrated. Similarly to Aurelion Soul, Orianna is capable of performing her entire kit while standing a safe distance away. If you're looking for a fun caster mage to play, definitely try out Orianna. The amount of options available to Orianna are endless, but despite having a very high skill cap, her entire kit is pretty simple to learn. So, if you're looking to climb, chances are these champions will be great to abuse. There's other great picks that weren't mentioned in this video too though, so let us know what other OP picks that you found in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Wild Rift content, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.
No, 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 no!